And welcome back, Gamer Nation. SKS here with another episode of 80 Days, part of the 2017 Summer Game Blitz. This episode brought to you by Scarlet Ranger. Last time we left off, we were heading across Europe. We are on the Orient Express, heading into Germany, or towards Germany. But we are going east. So let's continue our adventure and see what's happening. Oh, we can converse. Greetings, monsieur. Can I help you at all, monsieur? I am the guard of this train. Begin conversation. Ask George Mazard about Munich. I'm very much interested in Munich. Apparently one can travel in a private car from Munich to Vienna. But the journey is tiring. How about Munich to Zurich that goes south? Prague might be a good one. Is it possible to go from Munich to Prague? Never mind that. The most efficient way to Prague is to go via Berlin. Oh, okay. Excuse me, I must go to... Oh. So Munich to Berlin is probably the best route. My master wished to be undisturbed as we left Paris. I barred our compartment door. I left him and went to explore the train. I left him and explored the train. There's a delightful dining car and observation deck formed by the replacement of an entire compartment with an open glass cube. I stopped there, watching the scenery flash past. I attended the dining car. I saw nothing. Let's attend it. I found a few groups of people talking quietly. I eavesdropped shamelessly, sat with a young composer, joined a pair of young Parisian ladies. Yes. Parisian ladies who were toasting their adventure away from France. They were going to Vienna to hear a concert by the great steam orchestra there. I don't think we would be allowed to leave, one confided. Because of the political situation? Because of your great beauty? Oh, let's do that. Because of your great beauty, I inquired, and the girl blushed. Her companion frowned at me. You are a valet, monsieur, she pointed out. You do not have the standing required for such a remark. I am first and foremost a Frenchman. Oh my god, this is like the hell of me playing this character. I rejoined with a smile. The girl shook her head. And above that, a man, she replied with a sigh. Come, Isobel. She stood and her friend, reluctantly, I think, left with her. I finished my cognac, and then I returned to Monsieur Fogg, who, to my surprise, looked up from his paper at me. What did you learn? He inquired. Nothing. I told him of the dining car. And he looked smartly aside, clearly unimpressed. We arrived at Munich a few hours later. Your character is now presentable. Okay, I don't know what all this stuff is doing for my character, but we'll see. We're here in Munich, though. It is day 3. I feel like we've lost so much time. Some of our possessions could be sold handsomely here. We really don't have... I want to go to Berlin. Be rotten night if you don't find a hotel. Okay. Hotel. Man, he gets pissed off. The Franco-Prussian War had concluded but a year previously. Thus, my French accent was a disadvantage. Thus, I flaunted my French accent. Oh, man. I think I'm not going to be a total... I'm a valet. I can't be a total dick. During our short time in Munich, the concierge of our hotel was most suspicious when I approached the desk. I did not care for politics. I was not immune to a certain bitterness. I did not care for politics myself. What was an enmity of nations to me? Still, in order to avoid any untowardness, so I suggested to the man that he might be equally considerate. He slid from my accusations like a fish from a hook. You are a valet, he said. I am a concierge. We both work for your English gentleman. I left the idiot to his hair oil. Then let me tell you what my gentlemen need. I replied, sensing this weasel of a creature could be bullied. We are traveling as fast as possible around the world. We require a hot bath, the best food, and a peaceful environment. We're traveling? We need to know about connection. We have the best drivers in the world, the concierge replied. The roads are good and you will encounter no difficulties. And beyond Munich? He shrugged. You'll be well served in Berlin, he replied. The rest of the world, I would not venture there myself. Well, it still doesn't open anything for us. Okay, we need to wait a few minutes and then we'll So, we've visited 2 of 169 cities. We've traveled 743 miles. Okay, so there's not much really there we can look at. Okay, the market's open. Here we go. The wine is not a lot here. The medallion. This magnifying glass. A smooth surface lens into a weight press. I'm gonna get that just to see if we can sell it. Yeah, let's get all this stuff. Oh god, he wants that. Well, I'm sorry. Let's explore, see if we can find any route. Oh, we did. Can we go to Venice or Berlin? There was little daylight in Munich. The sky was shrouded in steam and oil fumes from the tractors and hydraulic excavators in the street. Workers shouted at each other, a place of industry then. I quickly returned to the safety of the cafe. I want to go out and explore, but I'm afraid it takes up time sometimes. Workers shouted to each other over the din of construction, while the more fastidious citizens wore dark cloaks over their finery. I brushed in a few specks of dirt from my collar. In horror, absent-mindedly. Far more intrigued by the gleaming machines remaking the city skyline. Rumor had it that this work was doing of the Bavarian king. Could become obsessed with steam power, but the spectacle was more interesting to me than the patronage. Let's talk about him being a dick. And was spending an exorbitant sum on imported machinery and engineering work. The Kingdom of Bavaria had recently joined the German Empire. It appeared that the king suddenly had much more time on his aristocratic hand. Well, what matter with the whims of an aristocrat? Power and free time are a most potent, dangerous combination. That is true. As our journey, I fear proof. Alright, let's see which way we can go. We want to go to Berlin. You'll be well served for drivers in Berlin. Ah, so it updates us. So, okay, cool. The luggage rack has space for 4 suitcases, so we're good. Uncomfortable conditions in the open road. This seems to be a bothersome experience, but the traveling cloak from our gentleman's traveler set should make things easier. Awesome. Alright, so we're taking the steam carriage up to Berlin. We crossed from Munich to Berlin in a patched-up steam carriage. The smoke pumped out of the back through a tall iron chimney, leaving a smudged wake and trailed behind us like a flag. Our driver, Christoph, could not stop talking of his father. The countryside was the very definition of bucolic. Let's talk to this guy, who is an engine driver and had just been promoted. The Kaiser has merged all the state railways into the Reich Railway, he told us proudly. We have the most efficient system in all of Europe. It sounds like an excellent option. I ignored him and looked out the window. I glanced at Monsieur Fogg, who brightened appreciatively at Christoph. Word. He was not unusually one to appreciate the achievements of foreigners, but no doubt efficient railways were an exception to his rule. Conversed. Who's this guy? Greetings, Christoph. Don't worry, you won't distract me from the road. Begin conversation about Berlin. I'm sure you know all about Berlin. Everyone always talks about the beer and the sausages and the music. It is incredible. What about to Warsaw? Oh, Berlin to Amsterdam? No, I don't want to go backwards. Is it possible to go to Berlin to Stettin? All I know is this. Oil runs through Stettin's veins instead of blood. But now listen, the master of yours, he is very quiet. Is he shy? Perhaps. Perhaps that is it. I am new to his service. Well, perhaps this journey of yours will shake him up a bit. Of course. Seems unlikely to me. Oh, crap. I don't want to go back this way. What about Prague? All I know, the clock in the town square is a piece of junk. Apples. We give him apples. Goodbye. I don't want to use the apples just yet. We were on the outskirts of Berlin when a shadow fell over the steam carriage. Christoph blanched and crossed himself, taking his hands from the wheel. I looked up expecting rain, not knowing what to expect. But the sight that greeted me almost defied description. An Ottoman Gaia-class airship hung directly above the steam carriage, low enough that I could see a red-jacketed woman swinging, a black pirate flag waving. Let's do this. A red-jacketed woman swinging from a trailing rope ladder and pointing toward us with a wild grin on her face. She shouted something and two mechanical claws were dropped off the side of the gondola. Their pincers gleamed threateningly. Drive, Kristoff! I throw myself from the vehicle. Drive, Kristoff! I shouted urgently, but with our suitcases on the roof, there was no way to achieve enough acceleration. Give it all you have, man. I demanded. Shouting does not improve a mechanism, Kristoff cried back, and he was right. Our shouting achieved nothing, and a moment later the aerial claw had us. Then we were hoisted upwards. Kristoff's players grew louder and more desperate, but Monsieur Fogg merely looked out the window as we were hauled up into the deck of the pirate airship. We have been abducted, Monsieur. What shall we do, Monsieur? Perhaps we can turn this to our advantage? Yeah, maybe. I suggested to my master in hushed tones. These pirates have an airship. He glanced at me with cool approval. We are of the same mind, Passepartout, he said. Two muscular crew members pulled us out of the carriage and onto the deck as the red-jacketed woman glided over side nimbly. She examined us with dark-eyed intensity before breaking into laughter. An Englishman, and a Frenchman, and a Bavarian, she announced. It's like the beginning of a terrible joke. Why have you abducted us? We are no joke. I am Bahir bint Qasim, and this is my ship, the Canavar. I have little interest in you passengers. All I want is part of your steam's carriage engine. An engine part? Then what will you do with us? An engine part? I exclaimed. What do you not simply buy one? We are pirates, Captain Kazim replied in wonderment as the crew fell about with laughter. Really, you two are precious. You are too precious. I decided to help with the scavenging, tried to charm the captain into helping us. Surely she would appreciate the spirit of adventure. We are traveling around the world. I announced, and her look sharpened. Are you indeed? Her hand slipped into her pocket. I have something that needs to be delivered to the artificer of Sulaymaniyah in Istanbul. Will you be going in that direction? Indeed, we will. Sure. Indeed we will, I said enthusiastically. Never mind that we have been heading north. Captain Kazim seemed to weigh me up for a moment, then handed me a small carved bead of bright lapis lazuli. This Minecraft? Closing my fingers over the treasure. Take this to him. It is important. She sucked in a breath. He will reward you handsomely, I'm quite sure. I nodded seriously, sensing a deep sentiment behind her simple word. What could an airship pirate and the famed artificer possibly have in common? The rest of the journey, I spit an interrogation, discovering that some buyers will pay well for evening jackets from Warsaw. Finally, the Canavar dropped us off a short distance outside of Berlin, having no further use for us. Kristoff lamented over the scavenging remains of his steam carriages. My father is going to be very angry, he sighed. A rather inconvenient method of travel. Being abducted by pirates. Still, we had lost hardly any time. My fingers closed over the lapis eye in my pocket. How would I convince my master to journey to Istanbul? Your relationship with Fogg has improved slightly. Your character is now suave. That's right, we are suave. So, you're quite the flamboyant type, I see. His health is going down a little bit. We're in Berlin. It is super night. Before we get a hotel, I want to check something, though. No, we could shoot over. Oh, man. Yeah, we're going to have to do this. We're going to have to go Warsaw, Minsk, Bucharest, Istanbul, hit that, and then come down here and hit this canal. I think we'll still be okay. I've got to turn south. We'll see after Berlin here, because we're going to make a little bit of money. Let's get a hotel. I hope he heals a little bit in the hotel. Oh, we did. Awesome. We stayed the night at the Hotel Adlon on the Unter den Linden, the main boulevard in the central Met district. From the window, the Brandenburg Gate was lit by unturned gas lamp. I went for a late-night stroll. Along Avenue, past groups of people drinking at low tables. I sat down beside a pair of ladies. I sat with a man who was demonstrating various engine noises. I stayed clear. Let's sit next to the ladies again, who are each trying to outdrink the other. I kept score for them. As jug by jug, they slid slowly underneath the outdoor table and onto the cobblestones beneath. The evening was righteous, and I learned from my new friends, Adele and Claudia, that some buyers will pay well for magnifying glasses from Budapest. Ah, you can manage another case, can't you, Passepartout? Alright, we'll wait for the market to open. And then we're going to have to see which... Okay. That's a lot of money. A Caribbean timetable? A railway whistle. How much is it, though? Alright, we don't need 3. Alright, we need to explore and see what we can find. Berlin, they tell me, was once filled with glorious sound of people speaking French. Not so more anymore. Now there is nothing but the crashing of gears. It seems so foul in the streets we did not go out. Every street corner is equipped with rotaries and wheeled systems that spin glass globes this way and that. Their purpose is quite unclear, but when I investigated one, by throwing my shoes at it, clambering up the pole, oh god. Using my acrobatic training, much to my master's horror, I found it was a solid crystal sphere with no openings and nothing inside. The mystery persisted until nightfall, when these globes all lit up and the people of Berlin clustered around the warmth of the globes to drink beer and converse. It seemed that they work hard here, but they celebrate with equal vigor. We joined the merriment, earning ourselves an offer of a lift all the way to Bucharest. Oh, from a stocky blonde man who spoke only Indoor monosyllables. I sipped at a mug of beer with a thick head and recoiled in horror. These fiends put wheat in their beer. The afternoon turned to evening, and we finished our explorations of Berlin. Relations with Fogg, has improved slightly, though he got a little drunk and his health went down. Oh, man, that is awesome. That is... Okay, hold on. Tomorrow at 8 a.m. That is exactly what we want to do. Minus 26 hearts, though. Alright, so we're probably going to have to sleep again in the... So yeah, we'll have to sleep, and then we'll knock it out. With what remained of the day, I afforded my masters every service. Yeah, we should do that. We need to take care of him. Providing him with clipped mustaches with the intention he would have a comfortable night. Relations with Fogg have strengthened slightly. Alright, let's go ahead and depart. And embark. The roof of the car has space for 2 suitcases, which will suffice. The open road in uncomfortable conditions. This will be a bothersome journey, but the traveling cloak from our gentleman's traveler set should make things go easier. So we're going to lose 10. That's not that bad for this distance. This is a hell of a distance. As long as we don't get freaking destroyed. We found our German friend the next morning, polishing his car outside the hotel. The pistons are sparkling, he remarked, showing us his handiwork, and I could only agree. We got into the back and he started the engine, feeding in the oil. The car was a variant of Bozek design manufactured in Walsall. German made, our driver insisted, and I peered at it more closely, but I merely nodded. Let's peer at it more closely. It seemed a few improvements had been made to the design. Your own handiwork? The work of some cunning artificer, no doubt? I declared. The man puffed up his chest in pleasure. You might say that. Every improvement is my own. Monsieur Fogg did not take much note of the car and consulted his watch every few minutes. He was, I think, counting on each revolution of the wheels and computing our speed. Oh, that's so cool. So, we got a long drive, but we just cut out a lot of stuff, and I'm excited. But, man, 80 days is not a lot of time. We're still in freaking, like, Eastern Europe. Like, I don't even know how you could go faster. I wonder wonder if he stops at every city or if he just keeps going. At midday, we passed through Prague. The car slowed to a crawl as we weaved through the crowds. I caught a glimpse of an airship behind a line of houses and took a spontaneous decision and watched it lifted off. No, I'm not going to run toward it. To who know what destination, we headed on up the mountains of Central Europe. Oh, his health is going down. Fogg's okay. Let's come first. Greetings, Monsieur Daimler. Sure, ask me anything. Begin conversation about Bucharest. I heard people say Bucharest is a little Paris. Bucharest to Istanbul. Is it possible to travel from Bucharest to Istanbul? No idea, but now Istanbul is the only city in the world that straddles 2 continents. Do tell me more. Enough talking. Okay, well, that kind of stuff. I wonder if his picture changes as health. On the next day, we passed through Budapest. I looked at the buildings as they sped by. I asked our driver about it. He shrugged. I know people who think this is the center of Europe here, Mark, but that is quite wrong. Where is the center, then? I asked, though I could have guessed his reply. Berlin, of course, he replied. Our driver paused to take a sharp corner at speed, then turned his head to me and smiled ironically. I suggested to Monsieur Fogg that we jump out. I indicated to Monsieur Fogg that we jump out. I was sorry to leave it behind. I was not sorry to leave it behind. Hearing it as the last noise rather than like a muffled explosion. I'm not jumping. Why would we jump out of the car? That's just dumb. By the third day, we were sitting into a routine. The mountains peeled past, and our driver drove with careful precision, managing each of the dashboard dials in a complex dance, like a chess master playing through a favored opening gambit. I let him go on with it. I asked for him for a chance to drive. Oh, man. Yes, try this. And felt Monsieur Fogg stiffen ever so slightly beside me. But the car was easy enough to control, and I enjoyed my time behind the wheel. Relations with Fogg have deteriorated slightly. What? Your character is now courageous. I'm in roaring health, but we must make haste. Let's take care of him. I scraped a mustache. Excellent. Our long car journey is complete. We stepped from the car into the gloomy streets of Bucharest just after nightfall. I thanked our driver politely. He nodded once. Such was his manner. Wow, we met at such a far distance. We are now in Bucharest, everybody. It is 7 at night, and I think there we will call it a day and an episode. I hope you're enjoying this journey. I think next time we're going to try to go to Istanbul and then probably head south to go around to India. I'm excited about this. Again, this is part of the Summer Game Blitz 2017, brought to you by Scarlet Ranger. I will see you all next time. Good night, everybody.